the germ. Notice that both of these theories take away all responsibility on the person for what's happening. But let's begin by looking at the gene theory. And we're going to go inside the cell, and we're going to be going inside the cell probably just about every day, because I call the inside workings of the cell the CBD, or the central business district of the human body. And in this lecture we're going right into the very nucleus. In the nucleus of the cell is the DNA. That's the genetic code that determines the colour of our eyes, the colour of our skin, the colour of our hair, our height. And we have 23 chromosomes from our mother and 23 chromosomes from our father. And there's a huge amount of information in here. If you were to put all the information into alphabetical language and put it into paperback books, it would go, and stack them up on top of one another, it would go to the moon and back. I can hardly get my mind around that. Huge amount of information. Now this cell I'm drawing you here, we have 100 trillion cells in our body, and 75 trillion are, as I'm drawing here, the other 25 trillion are our red blood cells that carry the nutrients, carry the water, carry the oxygen, carry away the waste, because it's like a literal city in here. And wherever you've got a city, you've got commodities coming in and you've got waste going out. You know, the cell is no different. What's the DNA made up of? It's made up of the food that we eat. The outside strands are made up of polysaccharides, and polysaccharides basically means many sugars, and everything we eat is made up of many sugars. The crossword bands is made up of amino acids, and amino acids is a breakdown from the protein that we eat. So as a plant-based eater, my amino acids come from nuts, from seeds, from legumes like lentils, chickpeas, lima beans, and minerals glue these together. Minerals literally glues us together, as you will see. Hippocrates, 400 years BC, he said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. And he didn't know what I've just told you. He didn't know about the DNA. It made headlines in the newspaper 71 years ago, 1953. It said, secret of life had been discovered. Watson and Crookes, two scientists, have been able to unravel the DNA. See, that DNA is locked in there, it cannot leave, but it can be pulled out and coiled back up in again. And you see, they thought that once they understood the DNA, which they believed they could a little bit more once they'd been able to unscroll it, they could just adjust people's DNAs and they'd all be well. Are we well? We're far from well. No, it's actually not that simple. The fact is, the body was designed to heal itself. We just need to work with that healing process. That makes the most intelligence to me. If the body can heal, let's find out how it works. Because when you understand how it works, then you can work with that to bring about a healing response. And if you're not sick, you can work with it to maintain good health. So what I'd like to show you is how the new cell is made. Because we're constantly being remade. We've got new eye cells every 1 to 2 days. My grandson, Lennox, is 6 and he's fearless. And he's running through grass this high, just head on, running through it. So what happens next? A piece of grass cuts his eye. He cried out, held on. I held him tight. And he stopped crying, and then he seemed okay. Eye was a bit red, went down the creek, played in the water. He was perfectly fine for the rest of the day. You're always watching. You're watching. It's called listening. And it's a very important part of knowing how your body works, is to listen. Have you ever been to a doctor who won't listen? It's very frustrating. Don't be that doctor. Listen, observe. So I'm watching Lennox. Do I need to go a little bit further? He seems quite fine. But when it was time to go to bed, he said, my eye, my eye. So I put cold cloths on it, drifted off to sleep, awake half an hour later. So I'm an hour from anywhere, so I just pulled him into bed with me. And I massaged him around here with castor oil, and he fell asleep. Next day it was a bit red, a bit weepy, but he was happy. Playing handball, running here, running there. So I told him, he's okay. He's okay. He can see all right. Yeah, so you're watching. When you put him to bed, I saw. Now this is a kid, you can't do anything to him. You know, I had some children I could do anything to, some children I can't do much to. Couldn't I put drops in his eye? I put a grated potato in his eye. I finally talked him into it, and after 5 minutes, he wanted it off. Grated potato will reduce swelling. But we live in an incredible body, as you will discover. It's got an inbuilt ability to heal. Yes, it was a bit rare, it's a bit weepy. Woke up the next day, all the swelling had gone down, a little bit of redness on the eye, no more weep. So what does that tell me? That's what you're watching. All is good.